From colleges to the pros, X Games, mainstream sports, and everything in between. It's now time for Thrasher Sports with Herb Thrasher.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of some sports, man. You guys been keeping up with everything? Russ, lots going on this weekend, dude.
Oh, my God. Some controversies in the NFL, some results out of the NCAA that are quite interesting, and it looks like basketball started, and the Blazers are doing well.
I would say better than well. These guys are on a 7-game winning streak
Incredible.
right now, and Rip City is fired up. I've been seeing all the jerseys around town, hearing about this team. They're in the newspaper again every day, and it's glad to see Rip City Trailblazers are back doing well.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to be covering the NFL today. There was a Monday night game last night that ended in some controversy. The Sunday night game between the previously undefeated Chiefs and the Broncos didn't quite turn out like maybe some of us expected. And my poor Green Bay Packers, 3-game losing streak without Aaron Rodgers.
It's going to be a tough road for the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. You know, the Packers are built. I wouldn't say they're built around one man, but when you guys gave up, what's the wide receiver's name that went to
Greg Jennings.
You know, that was a telling little deal right there, is that, you know, it's Aaron Rodgers' team, and if he's not on the field, whose team is it? And,
yeah.
You know, it's like an identity thing and a talent thing.
Yep, so we'll be covering NCAA football and NFL football. We'll take a look at the NBA as well as what's happening in college hoops. And I don't know, Herb, do you have a special surprise sport for the night?
Man, I don't have any special.
How's NASCAR happening? Are they running down to the very end?
You know, I don't know too much about NASCAR, but I do know, I did see a headline to where Jimmie Johnson is going to win. Again. So I think this is like the 6th or 7th time.
6.
And I don't think anyone else has ever won it. I think since they started doing the championship series, I think Jimmie Johnson has been pretty much the sole winner.
Yeah, 6-time champion now for Jimmie Johnson.
I mean, he's just been a man amongst boys out there, I guess.
I guess so. We'll talk more about that and other sports. Plus, we got to catch up on the 420 football league. So we'll take a look at that here from our fantasy league and how the Seahawks screwed your team.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you know what? Actually, the New England Patriots tied in last night, Gronkowski or whatever. He ended up scoring, so he got more points, and so I ended up I would have lost anyway, thank goodness. But, yeah, I really, really tried. I played hard on Sunday in my fantasy league. Didn't work out.
Didn't quite work out. All right. We'll take a break, come right back, and you're listening to Thrasher Sports here on 420 Radio. It's Radical Russ here to introduce you to my friend Matt and all the staff at Lush LED Lighting. Growing plants indoors can be a rewarding hobby, but electricity bills can go through the roof. Then you have to cool down all those big hot lights. It can drive a grower insane. With Lush LED Lighting, you can solve many of these issues and double your rewards. If you thought LEDs were meet the tech of today, Matt and his scientists have developed the perfect light for flowering plants with far less cost and heat. And the results? Let's just say I appear at a lot of events with the masters of indoor horticulture, and the harvests I saw from Lush LED Lighting were big, tight, sticky, and very effective. Check out LushLEDlighting.com right now and tell them Radical Russ sent you. Double your rewards and lower your expenses with Lush LED Lighting. I'm Radical Russ Belville, and I want to thank you for listening to 420 Radio. We couldn't survive without you and our sponsors, and I'd like you to check out one of our prime sponsors, the National Cannabis Coalition. I've been working with NCC since June of 2012, and I'm proud to be part of the team they have assembled. National Cannabis Coalition is building the partnerships with reformers, lawmakers, and industry we need to be successful. Visit the National Cannabis Coalition website at nationalcannabiscoalition.com or the easier-to-remember ncc420.com. That's where you'll get the exclusive first look at my radical rants, as well as informative articles from the nation's top cannabis pundits. Visit ncc420.com today, and if you have your phone handy, text Russ to 420-420 to support NCC and 420 Radio. It's a free text message that helps us help you end adult marijuana prohibition. Learn more at ncc420.com, and thanks for supporting independent marijuana legalization public radio.
She was living in a single room with 3 other individuals. One of them was a male, and the other 2, well, the other 2 were females. God only knows what they were up to in there. And furthermore, Susan, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to learn that all 4 of them habitually smoke marijuana cigarettes. Reefers.
Welcome back. You're listening to Thrasher Sports on 420 Radio, and we didn't just smoke 2 joints, but we did have a couple dabs.
We did. Might have had 1 or 2. Enjoyed them, too, might I say.
So we got to decide where we want to go first, football, basketball, or NASCAR. I pulled up some of the NASCAR info.
What you got on the NASCAR?
All right, so then we wrap this up because we know the least about it.
That's right.
But disclaimer, we don't know NASCAR. But Jimmie Johnson just won his 6th title, and the record is 7. Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty share that record. And this article in USA Today, Jeff Gluck writes about this, saying that despite the fact that Johnson's got 1 fewer than those 2 greats, he did it in such a shorter span. And the stat here that was pretty amazing, Dale Earnhardt's got 7 titles and 76 career wins, but Jimmie Johnson's already within 10 of those wins in 241 fewer starts. That's like someone approaching, Brett Favre levels in like 5 seasons, 6 seasons.
Yeah, he's definitely Joe Montana right now. But we're missing something here. We're gonna have to come back because there's a point series or something is different about what's going on right now.
Yeah, they got that chase for the cup thing that they do now that they didn't do in the past. I mean,
I think that's what Jimmie Johnson has won every year since, and I don't know how to break it down to put it into words.
Yeah.
But either way, the dude is definitely dominating the sport right now, and he's definitely a champion. And
that's what Gluck in USA Today says, basically, is that he's dominating his era, and it's really hard to compare different eras. How do you take a NASCAR from 1960, compare it to NASCAR from 2010? Mm-hmm. There's no comparison. It's just like when we try to compare Babe Ruth to Hank Aaron to the players of today. Well, Babe Ruth didn't have to play against the best black players.
That's right.
So that's different. And Babe Ruth didn't get the benefit of Tommy John elbow surgery. Or, there's a bunch of different, you can't compare.
Well, the only thing I can think of right now that Mike can compare is Jack Nicklaus.
There you go.
That 70s and early 80s, he dominated golf.
Yeah.
And I admit that he had Arnold Palmer and a couple others to maybe a little bit of a rivalry, but that dude dominated golf. No one could touch Jack Nicklaus, and that kind of leads me to think.
But again, you got that same possible argument about the golfers of pre-19, pre-Tiger Woods, pre-VJ Singh. I mean, there was your occasional...
Yeah, but at the time, the best golfers are in the PGA. Yeah. And that's how you have to look at it, I think. You'll drive yourself crazy if
you dominate your own era.
That's how
is the best you can do.
I think that's it, man. I think that's it. And I think that's what's going on with Jimmie Johnson, and that's what happened with Michael Jordan.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that era, dominated.
Absolutely.
So there you go. Yeah, NASCAR, and we'll definitely get more on. Big Jim will help us out, and Cousin Kenny. But see, this is why. It's because it's like, this is the season. Huge games coming up, Russ.
Talking about domination of an era.
I just saw today where the most expensive ticket in college football going right now is the Alabama Auburn. And that game's not even this weekend.
I'll bet. Looking forward to that Iron Bowl. Checking out the NCAA FBS, where the F comes before BS. The football comes before the BS. That's right.
I get it.
Yes, it's clever, isn't it?
It is.
Alabama is at the top of the BCS standings, number 1. Florida State, number 2. Florida State faces the University of Idaho this weekend. I want to know what the point spread is.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Brian Murphy.
But I get it.
Brian Murphy writes for the Idaho Statesman, so I follow him because he covers the Boise State Broncos. But he had a tweet that came out today that said, nobody in FBS can match Idaho's strength of schedule. They've played Florida State. I'm going to go find...
Dude, find Idaho's...
I will find their schedule. And just to give you an idea... Now, the Vandals, the University of Idaho Vandals, and this is important to me because, being a Boise State grad, when I was in school, we were getting our asses handed to us by the Vandals like 12 years in a row. All right, so here's who they've had to play. They've got Florida State coming up this weekend. They've played Texas State. They played Ole Miss. They played Arkansas State. They played Fresno State.
That is Temple.
Washington State.
No, Temple also, dude. I mean,
Temple's a good team.
Yep.
Northern Illinois is an undefeated BCS buster at the moment, right? The only team on their, what I would say on their level that they lost to, I'd say is like Wyoming. Wyoming's not a very good team.
No, not at all. But shout out to Idaho, and they've actually been known to put a few NFL
Temple.
players.
And they beat Temple.
That's
their one win, 26-24.
Wow. Yeah, Temple's pushing for the MAC championship, I think.
Right. So shout out to the Vandals for their one win.
That's right.
They lost, let's see, they got, this is Florida State's schedule. Okay, so Florida State's playing Idaho this weekend, and then they play at Florida, which is their only real test coming up.
Yeah, but Florida's had it so rough. They're so injury prone right now. I just don't see any way that Florida can possibly win that game.
So it looks like we're locked into potential Alabama-Florida State championship game. Ohio State sits at number 3, followed closely by Baylor, all undefeated teams. And wow, I've been watching some Baylor highlights lately.
Well, I'm for Baylor, and I've actually heard some reports that if Baylor wins this weekend against Oklahoma State, which is ranked number 10,
right,
they will jump Ohio State.
Well, they already have in the AP top 25.
That's right.
AP's got Baylor at number 3 and Ohio State at number 4, and I don't disagree with that. I don't think Ohio State's really got any wins on their resume.
No, dude, they don't. They haven't beaten a ranked team since 2009. Since 2009.
Wow. Well, let's see.
During the regular season.
Well, they beat number 23 Wisconsin and number 16 Northwestern this year. Ohio State has. Those are their signature wins.
Yeah, Wisconsin just got in there. They're just ranked. They're ranked 23. They're right there. I get it, though. I get it.
But Wisconsin currently sits at 19, and their other win over Northwestern. Do you see Northwestern's uniforms this weekend?
Was it American flag ones?
Yeah.
I did see that.
That was like something out of a G.I. Joe comic, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of these like chrome helmets and different?
Well,
some of it just seems to be like, hey, I know, let's get people to buy another jersey.
It is, man. It is getting a little much, and it definitely started with Oregon, and I'm somebody who, with Alabama, I just assume go out there with all white and a classic number on the helmet, so it's hard for me to see all this, but at the same time, I do see some cool stuff. Some of these uniforms are cool, and
yeah.
I'd rather have them have parts that are cool instead of trying to make the whole uniform cool, because when they do that, then the whole thing becomes gaudy.
It does a little gaudy. The chromey helmets. Boise State's taken to these matte black helmets, though.
I've seen that.
I think Oklahoma State.
I like the matte blacks. I actually like it. I've seen the Beavers do it. Oregon State. I like that, and so yeah, I don't mind the uniforms at all.
Our other big shakeup in the top 5 BCS. Oregon is back up to number 5, having handled their game against Utah, 44-21. The same Utah team that hung a loss up on Stanford earlier in the year, and then got another loss hung up on them by USC.
Yeah. No, it's true, and that was actually a game for the first half. Oregon ended up having to take that in the second half and run away with it. The score is a little bit unpredictable. But, Oregon's right there too, and with Stanford losing, Oregon is pretty much on their way to the Pac-12 championship. And with USC beating Stanford, I wouldn't be surprised to see USC beat UCLA and shake up that whole other side. So the Pac-12 right now is wide open. But Oregon is back in the driver's seat. I don't expect them to have a chance to get back in the national championship, though. I just don't see it.
Too much has to happen.
Too much has to happen. I just don't see it.
And too many bad teams getting played for that to happen. USC sitting at 23rd, UCLA sitting at 14th. So, yeah, that would be a big game coming up between them. Rounding out the top 10 of the BCS, we've got Auburn. Again, that big Auburn-Alabama matchup just looms.
Well,
large.
Auburn, Georgia this past weekend was an unbelievable game.
Oh.
I mean, Auburn was ahead by 20 points in the beginning of the fourth quarter there. And Georgia ended up coming back and taking the lead. And on the very last play of the game, Auburn threw a Hail Mary. Well, I don't know if I can call it a Hail Mary.
It was a long pass.
It was a long pass into double coverage. The double coverage boys knocks the ball up in the air. The Auburn boy catches it and scores on the very last play, which Auburn now is calling the prayer. And, it's like Auburn is sitting right there ready to take this whole thing, too. If they can beat Alabama this next weekend, Auburn is sitting right steady for the national championship.
There you go. Clemson's number 7, Mizzou sitting at number 8, Stanford 9, Oklahoma State 10, and then further down in the rankings, checking out the BCS Busters, Fresno State, slim lead over Northern Illinois. Again, if they either of those finish in the top 16 and ahead of an AQ,
that's right,
they get into a BCS Bowl. Fresno State in the driver's seat, .4134. Their remaining opponents include New Mexico, San Jose State, and of course, should things play out as they should, a rematch of Boise State's loss 41-40 at Fresno for the championship game of the MWC. Oh my.
Well, I'm really liking this Northern Illinois team, though. I've seen them play a couple times this year. They're really good. They're a really good program. They actually beat Alabama about 5-8 years ago. And so they've been around, and I look to them to kind of stay undefeated.
Interesting thing on the Northern Illinois line here, checking out, the BCS rankings are made up of Harris Poll, USA Today Poll, and then computer rankings. Mm-hmm. And they've got 6 different computer rankings. Out of Northern Illinois, they're like 12 average, right, in the polls. It's 21, 10, 12, 14, 16. And one of the computers has them 3rd in the nation.
Wow.
It's like, what's up with that formula? I want to know how that works.
Well, they're pretty impressive, and they've got to be the best team out of Illinois.
They are the best team. You heard it here first, folks. Even above the Bears. Because, the Bears still suck.
I walked Russ right into that one.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, bro.
I can say that still. Even still, as bad as the Packers are doing, I can still say that.
There you go.
It's required. It's in our DNA.
So, college football. I'd say look for South Carolina, too, and Mizzou. Missouri, South Carolina are fighting for the eastern spot, and that's a fun little matchup to watch. Anthony Johnson is sitting on pins and needles right now with this Missouri team.
Yeah, it's looking good. So, lots of fun college football coming up. Big matchups. Let's see if we can find the schedule here. Here we go. And for our matchups this weekend, I want to check this out because there's usually some early week games.
I know we have.
Yeah, tonight Kent State's playing at Ohio. But that aforementioned Northern Illinois, they're on Wednesday on ESPN2 playing at Toledo. Not much going on Thursday. UCF, they're number 18. Rutgers is coming to town there.
Yeah, UCF has been a big surprise this year. They've done really well.
Yep. We've got trying to see if there's any games between ranked teams.
Man, it's one of those weekends.
That slow weekend.
One of those weekends where it's kind of not. It's shaping up to,
Michigan State's going to Northwestern. Could be an interesting game.
And that's an interesting team to watch because if they continue to win out and Ohio State continues to win out, Michigan State, Ohio State for the championship of the Big 12 could be an interesting game.
Yeah. Now, for the number 1 and number 2 teams, it's Florida State at home against Idaho. Alabama is at home against Chattanooga. Which of those 2 games will have the higher point differential? Which one of those 2 teams will kick the ass of the other team worse?
Florida State. Without a doubt, dude. Saban, we don't play like that. I would not be shocked to see Alabama beat Chattanooga 35-14.
14 points for Chattanooga.
Yes, I wouldn't. Yes, Chattanooga's one of these teams where they're offense. They're all offense. They just throw. And they score many points. And I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State 80-0 maybe or something like that.
It would not shock me.
It
is a question to me as whether or not
Saban doesn't do.
Can Florida State score 3 touchdowns on Idaho in every quarter?
That's right.
That's the question right now.
And that's how it will be. I mean, Florida State.
You don't think he pulls players and takes it easy?
I don't think Florida State will, because the way he looks at it is number 2. He's sitting right there. If you're number 1, you still can lose at least to number 2, and you're still guaranteed in the game.
Yeah.
But if you lose number 2 spot, you're in number 3, you're done. And the BCS takes the point spreads of your wins, and so Florida State needs a bigger win than, let's say, in Alabama right now.
Here we go. All right, when we come back...
One more fact real quick is Alabama will play 2 more games. They still have Auburn and against the SEC Championship game.
That's
Florida
right.
State really,
have nothing left.
There's just nothing left, so they just have to.
All right, when we come back, we will talk about NFL and take a look at what's going on with basketball Jones when we come back with the
Kobe's back.
PDX, Portland Trailblazers, Rip City in the house. Stick around and listen to Thrasher Sports. This is Lacero. Adam Hand of Handmade Apparel produces quality custom designs for t-shirts, hats, and other apparel. Handmade Apparel is the official design shop for 420 Radio, The Russ Belville Show, Ganja John, and Cascadia Concentrates, among many clients who rely on Adam Hand for everything from short-run custom projects to full-run clothing lines. Adam's meticulous designs are individually crafted and screened in vibrant, high-definition color. Visit handmadeapparel.biz to browse the selection of handmade gear or to get a personal quote for your own designs. Handmade Apparel, a proud supporter of 420radio.org. Let them bring in the beat. 420radio.org presents our live original production of the New Viper Hour, celebrating the reefer jazz culture of the early 20th century. Live every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, with replays Tuesday at 10 a.m., Wednesdays at 3 a.m., and a 2-hour block Sundays at 2 a.m., right here on 420radio.org. That's music from across the sun. You're listening to Thrasher Sports on 420radio.org. Now, here's Herb Thrasher.
All right, man. I know you're going to get to NFL real quick, but before we do, just a little hockey update.
All right.
The Los Angeles Kings are beating Tampa Bay at the end of the first 2-0. Vancouver and Florida 1-1. Edmonton giving Columbus a freaking ass whipping 6-0.
What?
Would you say that's like what? 35-0.
I say for hockey, every goal is a touchdown, and that's 42-0.
That's 42-0, and that's in the second. So we're saying just past halfway, just past halftime. So we're saying in the third. Damn, that's an ass whooping right there.
There's an ass being whooped.
Colorado over Chicago 5-1. All right, what you got in NFL, dude?
All right, so apparently last night's game, the Monday night game, and I missed it because I was doing a New Viper Hour. And I should have put it on because it's ESPN. I can watch it here in the studio. But anyway, apparently I missed a good one that went down to the wire.
Amazing game. Carolina really starting to show themselves beyond the pretender status into contender status. Cam Newton really playing hard. And Carolina, one thing they've always had is they always had a great defense. And they have a coach now, Ron Rivera, who coaches defense. So they're right there, and they were against the New England Patriots. We all know Tom Brady. Patriots are always shuffling players, but they're still always right there. So it was an amazing game, back and forth. Carolina pretty much controlled the whole game. I got to give them that, and you felt like Carolina was going to win the whole way. But the Patriots had the last drive. And so the Patriots are driving down, and they get to where it's basically final play. Okay,
18-yard line.
18-yard line. and Brady drops back. Gronkowski goes to the end zone, which he's a tight end, but basically in a wide receiver platform here, runs to the end zone, and 2 Carolina defenders are covering the play. One proceeds to wrap his arms completely around Gronkowski, and right then the ref saw it, threw the flag, ball's in the air. And then Gronkowski he can't even make a move to get to the ball. As you can see it, the other player, he's wide open to get to the ball because his other player has his tackled. And so the dude intercepts it, and you think it's a flag, you think, great call, ref. And then all of a sudden, the refs, all you see is
waving it off.
That means end of the game. That means the game is over, and you can see, of course, Carolina, dude, they're sprinting off the field, and now the Patriots are standing around going, what the hell? Brady's running with the refs. The refs run off the field. They don't even give an explanation. The refs don't even stop and say, okay, well, we just reviewed the play, or we just talked about it. They didn't do anything, and so I guess the one ref who saw the penalty, the other 4 were like, dude, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? We're trying to go home, and you're going to throw a flag? Tell them you didn't see that flag and pick it up right now. It's the only thing I can come up with. That's the only thing I can come up with, Russ, and that's me talking. Go home. Yeah, that's the only thing. Because, dude, if you go back and watch the replay, it's not a this. He tackled him, dude. And John Gruden was beyond. You've heard the Chucky faces. The Chucky faces.
I know all about Chucky.
Dude, they had this suit and tie guy, you can tell, who's never played a down of football in his life, who's with the referee committee. He was in the press box after the game, totally saying it was a great call, and you can just see Gruden staring a hole right through him. It was hilarious.
Oh, man. I'm sad I missed this. So the Carolina Panthers win. They're sitting at the number 5 position in the conference for playoffs.
They're on fire. And Cam did apologize this morning, stating that he hated to win a game on a bad call. And I thought that was pretty cool for him to at least acknowledge that. And so, yep, good on Cam.
Good on Cam. And then the Sunday night game, I did get to watch that game. The Chiefs and the Denver Broncos. Chiefs going up to Mile High, and I had a feeling the game would be like this.
It was an impossible game to win for the Chiefs almost.
Almost. It's, you make jokes about Mile High and all that, and these guys are in great shape and all that, but it does make a difference, especially for them big linemen.
It's not even about that for me, though. It's about that 9-0.
Yeah.
The Chiefs were due, man. There was just like, there's a reason why the Miami Dolphins, 72 Miami Dolphins, are the only team to freaking go undefeated. I mean, there's a reason for this. It's so hard to do. Teams can't do it. And this game was set up. National TV, Peyton Manning going 2 Mile High. Dude just got busted with some weed and speeding. It's just set up, man. There was no way the Chiefs were going to win this game.
They didn't do themselves any favors with a whole bunch of drop passes.
Because they were just set up to lose this game. It happens. You can't say it. Look, Nick Saban talks about this too. But in a college season, you can only get up for really 4 big games a season. And that's like 11, 12 game season.
Yeah.
That's the statistics. That's what everyone's studying. That's Saban. Well, the NFL, at least you're getting paid. So there's a different kind of getting up. But at the same time, football is a different sport than baseball and basketball.
Yep, absolutely. Well, the Broncos end up winning that game 27-10. So now on the AFC side, the Broncos and the Chiefs are both 9-1, but that loss takes the Chiefs down from the 1st seed to the 5th seed.
Yeah, it really does.
Because the way the divisions get their seeding.
Yeah.
They're followed by the Colts, the Patriots, both 7-3. Bengals are 7-4. Jets have eked into the 6th slot at 5-5. That's how weak the AFC is this year. There's only 5 teams with better than 500 record.
Yeah, I would expect the Jets to be right there towards the end, too. They just picked up Ed Reed to solidify that defense, and one thing the Jets can do is play defense, and I'm not surprised that the Jets are right there.
In the NFC, the Seattle Seahawks now have the league's best record at 10-1 after demolishing the Vikings.
Amazing football. They're just playing on top of their game. Total top shelf team right now, and Pete Carroll really has just the Seahawks just on fire, man.
Do we need to point out that the number one team in the AFC and the number one team in the NFC are in legal marijuana states?
Yes, I think we do.
I think we need to bring that up. And then following the Seahawks, you got the Saints sitting at 8-2, just kind of sneaking up on everyone as like, oh, those guys are 8-2. Whoa! Hey.
Saints had an amazing win this weekend to do that. Ended up they were losing. Game was lost, and ended up kicking a field goal to beat the San Francisco 49ers, who on the other end are looking pretty bad because the Seahawks are doing so good. The 49ers keep losing, but the Saints, Drew Brees, he's won a Super Bowl before. They have one of the best coaches in the NFL, Sean Payton, and they can put up about 50 points a game, so I'm not surprised that the Saints are right there.
The Detroit Lions lost their game, taking them down to 6-4, but they still lead the NFC North with the Bears sitting at 6-4 and the Packers at 5-5 on a 3-game losing streak without Aaron Rodgers on the team. Could only score 13 points at New York Giants, but only being 1 game back bodes well, and if Rodgers comes back, we'll see what happens.
Well, I think Detroit's basically the only team in the whole entire division there with a legitimate quarterback. I mean, right now.
At this point, yes.
At this point, and I their wide receiver could be the best player in the NFL, much less he's damn sure the best wide receiver.
Megatron.
And so look out Detroit right now. Green Bay really needs to get Aaron Rodgers back, or they're just going to fall further and further behind. I don't even think you can mention the Vikings in this, and Bears have been doing without Cutler too, so we'll see.
Yep. All right. So before we wrap things up, we need to get to our NBA scores, NBA standings. And, of course, the story here in Rip City is the Portland Trailblazers, who are doing remarkably well so far. We go to their page here. I knew I get the alerts on the phone, and I'm like, oh, they beat the Celtics? Oh, they beat their last win over the Brooklyn Nets. Comes 108-98.
And our very own Lee Berger was at that game.
Oh, was he?
Sure was.
Well, good for Lee. And, doing very well with LaMarcus Aldridge, looking like the all-star he's been in the past. Really.
Well, the Rookie of the Year last year, what was his name?
Lillard. Damian Lillard.
He's really...
It's hard for me to say that name.
He's really shown himself to be one of the better players in the league. And Matthews is the leader. And they got this, what's the guy from Stanford in the middle with the twins? His brother's the twin. He's got all the hair.
Not sure, but we've got the first
Lopez.
First game of the season, the Trailblazers lost to the Suns, but since then have gone to win against the Nuggets, the Spurs, lost at Houston, wins at Sacramento two days in a row, win at Detroit, win at Phoenix, win at Boston, win at Toronto, win at Brooklyn. So all these wins coming on the road with just one loss in the month of November, sitting at 11-2. That's their standings there.
Yeah, no, they're just outstanding, playing great basketball right now, and I look for them to do better too because they were on the upswing last year. If you remember, towards the end, they kind of started playing a little bit better. And they made some moves. Noticing some other teams, Kobe's back with the Lakers. Started his second practice. And he wasn't supposed to be back until mid-December or so. But he's thinking he might get in this month. San Antonio Spurs are still looking like the Spurs. They're just looking great.
Yep, San Antonio's at 9-1. Portland's at 9-2. Forgive me, I had to correct that. It wasn't 11-2. 9-2. The Trailblazers in the Eastern Conference. Indiana sitting at 9-1 with Miami behind them at 8-3. So that's very early in the NBA season. So we're not hanging banners from the rooftops in Portland yet. But it's a nice start for a season.
Man, it really is. And, Oklahoma City's right there. They've been at the top the past few years. And you would have thought Houston, getting some of the players that they've gotten, and they ended up getting the Dwight Howard with the Jeremy Lin and the bearded guy from Oklahoma City, and Houston having a little bit of chemistry problems going on. That's it happens a lot of times when you sign so many stars. Although Miami definitely got it figured out real quick.
Winning cures a lot of those problems, doesn't it?
It sure does.
All right, and last we were around here, we had that. There was the bullying discussion that was going on, Richie Incognito and all of that, which got bumped from the NFL headlines by Dwayne Bowe getting pulled over and busted for weed and DUI. So there's the scandals going on so far.
Really haven't heard much on the Miami thing anymore. That story is, I think, finally dying down a little bit. I did see your boy Brett Favre talking about it, though.
Oh, did he?
And he said that he was having a hard time seeing how a grown man, 300 pounds, can be bullied.
That's some homespun Brett Favre,
isn't it?
Right there.
Isn't it? Yeah, it is. And so
how can it grow?
He said, "I've never seen it."
Oh, Brett, high school coach of the year.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's about it. All the time we've got tonight for our Thrasher Sports. But make sure you tune in on Friday. We do the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour.
We'll do some rocking. We got some bands going on. We'll do some rocking, and we got weed.
We got lots of weed. We do this every Tuesday night, just about 35, 40 minutes, get you caught up on the sports, hang out, have a couple dabs.
Well, we should, hold on, you got to give an update on the fantasy.
Fantasy, oh, well, all right, well, we'll put Year of the Dragon here in the background while we do it.
Yeah.
That's right, I forgot the fantasy update.
Do the fantasy real quick, because I don't even know where we are. I got so mad for
you got screwed.
Getting beat. Although, like I said, man, I was proud of my team. My players played. I finally scored points. I just happened to end up going against a better team than me.
Yep. Emerald Tide went down 136 to 153 against lung capacity, and a lot of that had to do with the Seattle Seahawks defense getting touchdowns.
3 interceptions in a row. Remember? Ponder threw 3 in a row, and one of them was a pick 6. And I'm like going, no!
And so then we're watching the other game, and the only guy that Green Bay would throw to was Boykin, which was the guy on the other team against Herb, and he's like, quit throwing to Boykin.
It was like that dude was in Vegas, man, and he was just cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching with points.
So Emerald Tide is now sitting at 4-7. You've sunk to number 16 in our 20-team league.
Boo.
Doing better than me. The Pigskin Potheads are at 19th. We're second to last at 2-9. Bull Raiders are at 1-10 at the very bottom. Leading the league, we got the Purple Kush Punishers at 9-2, tied with Lung Capacity at 9-2. Indica Ninjas, there's that's Anthony Johnson's team.
Indica Ninjas are?
I believe so.
Wow.
He's sitting at 8-3, third in the league, and offensive sack has dropped to 4th, 7-4, tied with Cot Red Hernandez, Patriots, and Brian the Red's Rip City Tumors, also tied for 4th place at 7-4.
Right.
Rolla J and Lively Libra tied there for 8th place. Iowa Brickballers and Reefermen and Trees. So there you go. That's most of the top of our fantasy football league.
I saw Rolla J made a trade the other day.
Did he now?
Yeah. There was a trade in the league, so I think it just went through.
Very good, very good.
So
Tony Gonzalez got traded. I like our poll. I asked, how far will a pot-smoking player go in the NFL this season? Would they win the Super Bowl, win the conference, win a playoff game, get to the playoffs, or there'd be no pot smokers in the playoffs whatsoever? Half our voters said that a pot-smoking player would win the Super Bowl this year.
Very nice. And I'll be smoking a Super Bowl watching him.
There we go. So there's your update, and I lost, Pigskin Potheads lost 75 to 124 because we don't have a quarterback, because Brandon Whedon and...
Yeah, it's you can't do much without a quarterback, and I'm looking... I got 3 quarterbacks, and 2 of my quarterbacks are on bye next week, so I'm going to be hurting if Terrell Pryor doesn't start for the Raiders.
There you go. Our close game this week came down to Patriots beating Little Lebowski Urban Achievers 134 to 130.
Wow, pretty close game.
Close game of the week.
Yep. All right. Well, there you go. Fantasy football. We'll definitely keep you updated, have some good prizes for the winner.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at Thrasher Sports, 420radio.org.
See you Friday.
Oh!